when we met, it really just hit off quite well each time. And then, at that meeting, I was kind of getting a feel for it. And I had in the back of my mind that Indy was, I'd bring them over to Indy. But I didn't tell them that at the time.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the Canadian Private Lenders Podcast, a show covering the private lending industry, the mortgage broker space, and the Canadian economy. Your hosts are Neil Andrino and Ryan McNeil. Enjoy.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's episode 97 of the Canadian Private Lenders Podcast with your hosts, Ryan and Neil. Neil, how's it going today, buddy?
It says episode 96 on the sheet.
Yeah, I messed up.
Okay.
Big mistake. So we start losing track of count now that we're creeping up in numbers here, eh?
Yeah, we were just talking about this. We got to do something special for number 100.
Yeah, we're getting real close to triple digits here. It's kind of wild.
It's actually insane.
Yeah, we're 3 away right now, but we've got some special guests joining us today. A couple of rising stars in the industry, especially in the commercial financing space. We've got Matt Shallo and Andrew Hutchinson with Indy Mortgage. So just in just a few short years in the space, the Indy commercial mortgage team in Atlantic, Canada has risen to one of the top go-to options for clients seeking commercial financing in the Atlantic provinces. Matt and Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Hello.
Great to have you guys here. I know you guys have been great followers of the show, so it's nice to kind of finally have you on. But you've probably seen some of our interviews before, but we'd love to go back and kind of understand your guys' backgrounds and kind of how you stumbled into this great industry, and specifically in the commercial space, which is a little bit more rare on the broker side, I would say.
Yeah. First of all, that was flattering. Rising stars. It's I'll take it.
I don't usually hear anything rising from me.
Yeah. Do you want to start off on that one, or do you want?
Yeah, sure. So again, thanks guys for having us on. I am a huge fan of the podcast.
Hell yeah.
I listen to every single episode you put out, and I'm super stoked what you guys are doing in the industry. So again, super flattered to be here and excited to chat more about what we've been up to. So again, Matt Shallo here from Indy Mortgage Commercial here in Halifax. My background is kind of an interesting one. I came from the world of first responding, specifically in policing. Spent most of my, call it younger years. I feel young, but also kind of old. Just turned 40. So my first career was police officer. I was in southern Alberta. Spent some time there, between there and northern Montana, of all spots, doing some interesting work, we'll call it.
How'd you go cross-border?
Was working with the international team for doing some drug stuff.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. The cool shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's pivot this interview. We're just going in depth.
That sounds way more interesting.
That's there's some stories over some beer, that
goes
we could
downhill
absolutely chat about. It was awesome though. It was really eye-opening, but also it was something I really wanted to do, so I'm glad I got a chance to do it. Left there, I was in southern Alberta, like I said, until 2015.
Lethbridge?
I was in Tabor, so yeah,
okay.
Basically between Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, just a couple cornfields and me as a cop.
Yeah, okay.
It was riveting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so spent a bunch of years there, came back to, I'm originally from Cape Breton, so in 2015 I packed up my little SUV, sold off what didn't fit, drove home, did my MBA, and got hired into finance with one of the big fives. So
cool.
Started right into the corporate commercial space then. I've never did any personal banking prior to that, so.
Nice.
Yeah, so was with that FI in Sydney for a couple of years, worked my way up, got promoted, ended up in Halifax. Here ever since, right? So, yeah, I got a little house in Beaverbank now, and, been in the space now just coming up to my 3rd year in the brokerage.
Amazing.
So,
And a cool EV truck.
and a decently half-exciting EV truck.
Well, what motivated you to make the switch, just out of curiosity? Like, you're cop in the cornfields, and then you just went and got an MBA.
Yeah, I always tell people I liked it until I didn't. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things that it just kind of smacked me in the face one day, and I was like, do I do this and finish out, do another 10 or so years, retire, or can I pivot now before I have the family, the white picket fence, anything like that, no ties to Alberta. My communication skills were always awesome. I was always more interested in, that side of things, which is probably why I gravitated towards the drug side of the work. It was very much relationship building, and I'm using air quotes for that. Yeah. So, really got to hone those communication skills, and it was one of those things that I was going to go to business school and just didn't know what I was going to do afterwards. It was, my parents were like, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. I'm just going to come home and go to business school and hope for the best.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where did you do your MBA, Matt?
CBU.
CBU.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
It was the most economical thing to do at the time, to go home and kind of live in the parents' basement and crash through the school.
So you guys both have a CBU connection, eh?
That's right.
Yeah. Let's hear it from your side, Hutch.
CBU, yeah, I guess we could start there. So that was a sports background for me that brought me to Cape Breton to play soccer for them. And I did 1 year there. I'll say I had a fun year. And then I came back to Halifax and finished out my education at Dal. And yeah, from there went into investment and insurance industry. So was kind of similar to in terms of how I set up the business, or as we do now with mortgages, where I ran my own little sole proprietor or my own little business, and that was great. I loved that portion of it. The investment side I liked. I didn't like the insurance side as much, especially as a young guy out of university. It wasn't a super exciting space. And so from there, I went and worked for a hedge fund administrative firm in the city, and was basically 100% in the investment side, and worked long hours, and didn't mind the work as much, but missed the part where you own the business and you're building something. And during that time, got really interested in real estate and investing in real estate, which kind of got me thinking about the finance side of real estate, which was mortgages. And I had a friend that was in it that I reached out to, who kind of brought me in under his wing and taught me pretty much everything I know, to be honest. And I became a mortgage broker at that point, and that was back in 2019, I think.
Cool.
So going on 6 years as a mortgage broker, and
Good timing.
Yeah, it was great timing.
Sure.
It was great timing, yeah. And yeah, I'd been a mortgage broker ever since, and yeah, that brings you up to speed.
Amazing.
Do you want to shout out your mentor?
Yeah, Darcy.
It's Darcy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I figured as
Darcy
much.
Cummings.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so I know you guys kind of both came from previous shops before coming into your current space, and you guys were at different stops as well. But let's talk about the growth of the Indy team specifically, okay? So the brokerage basically didn't exist in Atlantic Canada. I know it's been in Western Canada and Ontario for a while now, right? But you guys have established yourselves as a leader in commercial financing in Atlantic Canada and really have stood out. So what do you think the key catalysts were to the growth of this team and the cohesiveness you guys have now?
I'd say the biggest thing is probably the culture. I think that we have in the office. I mean, you know us pretty well, and I think that's to our business in general is we just bring a side to it that's maybe very relatable, and try to make ourselves and our practice very approachable. And we lean in on education. So I think that's really education for clients. And I really think clients really value that partnership aspect of it. And I think that's where a lot of the commercial growth has come from. In terms of Indy, Indy's been so I come from mortgage architects, and we've it's actually not even a year yet, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so in September will be 1 year.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it feels like it's been...
It does feel like a lot longer than that. I've known you guys a lot longer than that. That's probably why, but wow.
So
I thought you were coming up on 2. Wow.
Yeah, next
Crazy.
month will be a year. But they've been around since the 90s. They were formerly known as Axiom, and that was... Yeah, they have a very large presence out west in Ontario. And they've been looking to come out east, and when we both... When Matt and I, and there's another business partner, Matt as well, and when we all met, it was a situation where I was getting quite a few commercial clients that I didn't have the experience to underwrite, and was using Matt here as to underwrite some of those deals, and we kind of came together and formed our own little brokerage, and Indy was a perfect fit for that, to facilitate that.
Still chasing lenders for updates? Manually entering deal details? Are you a law firm still not able to perform a discharge with just a simple button click? Well, Lawyer Automator is the modern solution built specifically for real estate law firms working with private lenders. Eliminate manual effort and automate intelligent document generation and digital instructions between lenders and lawyers with just a simple click. Enjoy seamless communication across your entire team and all stakeholders involved in the deal, from clerks to partners and everyone in between. Get comprehensive end-to-end reporting with visual business intelligence tools right on your screen. Perform discharges at the touch of a button. And because we're connected to Canada's largest private lending network, we'll even help you grow your client base with exclusive networking opportunities. Lawyer Automator. Work smart. Close fast. Grow your business.
So were you guys looking to, like, where you guys were working together at that point? Was it like kind of in the back of your heads, or a conversation had started where it's like, we should probably do something?
It's actually a fun story.
It's pretty funny. I'm going to let Hutch say most of it because he tells it better than I do. But essentially, the long and short of it was that our other business partner, Matt Legato, and I have always been a team basically since the inception.
Okay.
And we were with the other shop, as Ryan kind of alluded to. And we were looking at, what do we want to do here? Do we want to add maybe a person or two to our team there to kind of come up with like a smaller team within a team? Or, were we going to try to just see what else was out there? We weren't really sure. We were still pretty green to it and just knew that we wanted to surround ourselves with amazing people doing amazing things.
Okay.
And we ran into Hutch a few times, once on the golf course over a couple of, cold milks.
Yeah.
And then at a home show randomly, and he had a different name tag on. So I remember looking at Legato being like, I don't think his name is Darcy. But it says Darcy, so I'm very confused. And that led us to talking to him a little bit more at the home show. And then Matt and I kind of being like, okay, we're going to go and let's have a lunch with him, and we're going to poach him. That's what we're going to do. We're going to poach him. And then we went to lunch, and we got pitched from Mr. here, and then all of a sudden there was a whole different scheme to it all.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had been talking to Indy for probably like a while at that point.
Yeah.
And it was something that where I was visioning my business going, it really aligned well with, but didn't want to do it like just go by myself completely. And because I'm a people person, and having a team was something that I was looking for. And same when we met, it really just hit off quite well each time. And then at that meeting I was kind of getting a feel for it, and I had in the back of my mind that Indy was I'd bring them over to Indy, but I didn't tell them that at the time.
Okay, so did you anticipated the poach, and then
so I didn't tell them I was going. I was like, oh, you guys might like Indy, because I didn't want them to come due to me. I wanted them to make their own decision. So I was like, you need to talk to and we had I gave him a name at Indy to talk to.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing a name tag for Darcy?
So I don't.
Darcy couldn't make it, I'm guessing.
No, Darcy was there.
Okay.
And I was just being funny because we were at the home show, and Darcy, when I had showed up, Darcy had just left, and his name tag was there, so I put it on. I was just pretending to be him.
Yeah.
And then had gone to was just going for a walk around. Forgot I still had it on.
Yeah.
And I was just walking around.
I was like,
Wow.
I thought his name was Andrew, but I guess
Was the name you dropped Doug Adlam?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Right on. I thought it might have been Doug, but Doug we've had on our show before.
Yeah.
One of our early episodes in Ontario, but and I know he was part of the team once upon a time as well. So, okay. So very, I see a lot of kind of similarities between Indy, Commercial, and Keystone, just how we operate. Like Hutch, you mentioned education being something you lean in on. We're the exact same way in terms of the broker space. But maybe more importantly, in today's age, like social media, you guys have gone all in on this, and I absolutely love to see it. We love to do the same thing here, and it's of critical importance and really low-hanging fruit for people that just most brokers don't take advantage of. You guys even have a new crispy studio in your. Is it in the office? I assume. Yeah. Okay, it looks incredible. Great backdrop. You guys are posting videos every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So. Just talk about this. What's it meant for your business? Has it directly led to leads? Has it improved your standing in the business or your way to promote your business? Like, just talk about it a little bit there.
Yeah. So I've always been kind of a social media nerd in a sense. Like I've always enjoyed being on social media. Like that dopamine hit is just something I crave. So I'm constantly doom scrolling, right? And what I kind of found, and Matt and I and Hutch kind of got together and chatted about it, is that in the commercial space, in the broker commercial space specifically, there's not a lot of stuff outside of talking about rates and cap rates out there. And that was something that we were like, okay, we're going to just erase those words from people's minds right now and focus on things that really, you may not think of, but are super, super important. So we do videos now, just 30-second little blips about, we did one on check the parking lot because that could cost you a fortune if you're going to invest in multifamily and it's full of cracks. We live in Atlantic Canada. There's snow. Do you have a snow budget allotted for all your properties that you're going to have? Because that's going to be an added expense. We do CapEx creep talks. So just different things that get people thinking, right? And it's all geared towards that entry mid-level developer that is looking for those little tips and tricks that they may not even have known that they needed to look for. So we just kind of decided that we were going to pivot and go all in on that. That's kind of where we're at. We sit down and we hammer out a bunch of videos in a day, and then we just drip them out.
Love it.
Yeah, I think the overarching thing there too was one, for visibility, right? To try and let people know there's a commercial division, and two, really try and make those videos have our whole our energy and our vibe and our culture try and come through there, which is hopefully, one, informative, stimulate some ideas that maybe you don't think of that maybe you should, and two, actually be informative and try and just spread the knowledge and realize that, these are conversations that you can have with your banking professionals. It doesn't just have to be about are you approved or not approved.
Have you felt a return on the time and work and energy you're putting into establishing social medias, and what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, by osmosis, I think people are going to be a little bit more interested if you're literally throwing content at them every single day.
Yeah.
As far as leading to transactions, it's not, we're not tripping over transactions from it, but we're generating really good conversations from it. And I think that's kind of important for us to just keep getting the brand out there. There's people that are coming in and talking about it a little bit more, there's commercial space on the broker side, or, CMHC, MLI, we always are going to get those people coming out of the cracks, but it's definitely more presence driving right now than it is, monetary drive. Yeah.
What would your advice be for other brokers based on your experience so far? Would you tell them to do it, or saying stay the hell out of my space?
As far as the videos and stuff go?
Yeah.
Do it. 100% do it. Take the time to do it, because even if you're having conversations, if they don't turn to something for 6, 10, 12, 18 months, it's something. And it costs a little bit of time to do it, but our studio took no time to set up, and we sit down and bang out videos in a day.
Well, to that point, Matt, too, you may not directly receive a lead on an individual video, but if someone's going on Instagram and they're looking for mortgage broker A who says they're a mortgage broker in their profile, but there's nothing there to show that they actually are, versus going to one of your guys' profiles and seeing a list of videos there where you're talking about specific things and educating people, who do you think they're going to pick, right? That becomes your resume. We were talking about this morning with our team as well, how you may not get direct leads from one individual thing, but it really that is your resume online these days.
Absolutely. And just to that, my Instagram, when I first started doing these videos, I'd average about 1.5K in views on my profile per month, and I'm up to 27,000 or something like that now. So some good driving growth to at least views to the page.
Yep.
What's you have any plans moving forward? I think you're going to change, or want to keep just with this path?
There's some stuff.
Some secret plans.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming out. For sure.
We like to break news on this podcast, so
there might be some breaking news on this podcast. But I think that it's funny. It's not something. And Neil, you made a comment there, and I like to point this out. I don't think anyone else in our industry, we really don't view other people as competition. The banks maybe a little bit. But as a broker, we're really just trying to show that if you haven't worked with one before, it can be intimidating to reach out to someone. You don't know, is there going to be a price associated with that? Am I going to sound stupid? And really what we want to do is show that a broker is going to provide a lot of added value compared to going to your bank. Mm-hmm. And how we can do that without physically meeting you. This is the next best option in our view. And so if we can do that, we're still relatively, we started that, we're in month 2. So, we do have quite a bit of content out and quite a bit coming. So it'll be interesting to see what those numbers end up looking like in the coming months. And but really the main crux of it is get to know us through these videos, get to understand that you don't know what you don't know and until you walk that road. So, you should have a partner and not someone you're trying to convince to get a loan, someone that's just there helping you get it.
Which makes total sense because, whenever I talk to people, obviously I'm in the real estate sales business as well. And even myself, before I really got into investing in real estate, I didn't necessarily merit the values of a broker or understand even what they really did. And I think a common misconception is like it's just an added expense and they're greasing a part of your deal sort of thing, versus now I totally appreciate that a lot of times you need one. Like if you're not just on a 9-to-5 income and just buying a single family home, I guess you can get away with just going. And even then, there's opportunity for brokers to beat the rates or help with some of your other financial planning within that. But I can understand where they don't feel as incentivized because the bank that they bank with already made the pre-approval for them. It's just simple. They don't have to think. But yeah, there's a ton of value in brokers. So getting it out to people through social media makes all the sense in the world. But no, you guys are doing a great job. I have seen your stuff. I'm curious to see what the breaking news is.
Let's hold on.
We'll get there.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the private side. You guys have been fantastic supporters of Keystone, but I've been in the industry 10 years now, and a lot of brokers tend to shy away from private lending. It could just be they're established in the industry, they've got a big book of A business, and they just don't see a need for it. But every year I've been in the industry, and I'm sure you guys can say the same, private and alternative in lending has increased in market share, increased in importance. So it's become more important to learn about it, okay? Obviously, on the commercial side, having an access to private lenders is critical. There's just, many scenarios that just don't fit with the majority of lenders that require some sort of private financing. But can you kind of talk about some situations where a private loan has benefited one of your clients?
Yeah, sure.
We have an example, actually, that I think they just... it was last Friday, this client ended up refining out, and we'll give a breakdown of this client of a perfect example of where you guys come into play. And you're right, it's not going to be, like, private's not for every single client out there, but there are certain situations where works amazingly well. So we have a client that came to us and was basically tapped out on buying properties residentially, and he was, a contractor buying a property. He basically would buy the strategy where he'd buy bungalows and do an up down and refinance them and repeat. And he got to a point where banks were like, oh, you can't buy any more of these properties. Came to us and he was trying to buy one insured. It was just like 6-1, and it's like, well, you can't. He's like, well, I already have the accepted offer, and I was like, well, here's what you can do. And at that point, he wasn't claiming his business for self, so not claiming a lot of income. So the B side wasn't an option either, but he wanted the property. So we came to you guys, funded it. I think the purchase was around $340 or $350. He put about $80 into it, and he just refinanced $480 out of it.
Just shy of 500.
Yeah, just shy of 500. So not only did he acquire the property, it's now cash flowing, I think, $1,500, and he pulled every cent, including fees and holding costs and everything out of it. So back to your point where it's like, okay, that wasn't going to happen at any other lender, and now he has an asset where he pulled all his money back out of it. It's appreciating, it's being paid down on the debt, it's cash flowing $1,500, and I could have easily said, okay, we can get you the property, you're going to be able to buy it, you're going to be able to renovate it, but it's going to cost this much money or here and there. Where in reverse, I said, hey, it's going to cost this much, and it's going to take this timeline, your carrying costs are going to be this, but you'll have the property, we'll refi you out at the end, and you'll be good.
What was the timeline on that one? 6 months?
A little bit longer? I think it was, no, it was about, I think it was just shy of 6 months. Yeah, I can't remember.
Love those deals.
It was it was
the best.
Perfect deal.
And we had additional, I maybe might have missed you saying it, but we had additional security on that too, didn't we?
Yes.
I think so.
Yep.
Which makes it easier from a down payment perspective to acquire the property, and then
that's the other thing is he ended up doing it. Yeah, that's right, because he wanted to do it insured, and then we actually did it. So he did it $0 down.
$0 down. Yeah. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the bridge, like it's that bridge debt for us on the commercial side that you guys are instrumental in, right? Like you get those long condition periods, and then you go through it, and then you're all of a sudden like, oh shit, we're not going to be able to close on time. What are we going to do here?
Yep.
And having the relationship that we have with you folks and with Zach, it's just a matter of jumping on the phone, doing a deal run and saying, listen, we've got the exit in place. We know this is going to happen. We just need that bridge debt to get through. And here's XYZ assets we can pledge.
Yep.
And it just works.
Yeah, and we try to talk about that all the time too, where, obviously rates and fees are higher on the private lending side, but the fee is really what you need to consider, right? Because that's your cost of doing business to acquire this property or secure it and then, ideally refinance and cash flow. The interest is somewhat irrelevant sometimes if you're only carrying it for 2 months or even 6 months in certain scenarios where it's an interest-only loan. It's not really as relevant, right? So,
as brokers, what do you guys look for out of your private? I think we've pushed hard enough that we know that private's a great tool. It can be very helpful. But when you're trying to make a consideration of who you're applying to for a private, like what is it? There's a relationship base, cost. What are you looking for?
I think you have to have an exit plan. Like that's the biggest thing. If someone comes to me or us and they say, it's not a solution. It's a stepping stone to a solution. And so really it's trying to figure out what the end goal is. Because if there's no exit, then really what you're trying to do maybe doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Might be time to get rid of the asset or not purchase the asset.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And I guess as far as like what we look for in an actual lender, I think kind of taken back to that is it's the relationship.
Yeah.
That's what solidifies everything in this business, right? Like from the sales side to the client side to everything in between, it's all relationship based. And the fact that I can text Ryan or text Zach at any point in time and they're like, oh man, sorry, get back to you in 15 minutes just in a meeting or whatever, is amazing because then you have that quick deal run. You know the solution's going to come, and then your client can be that much happier, that much quicker because, again, we can get that streamlined answer so quick. So it's really just boils down to the relationship, right? Because, again, 1299 is 1299 wherever you look.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no other private that is as fast or responsive.
I thought you were just going to end your comment right there.
I might
Just
as well.
leave the studio.
I might as well.
Slaps the mic and walks away.
I'm okay with that. We'll cut that one to a reel and go with that.
Yeah, the only private. So again, it gets a similar note, but we've talked a little bit about on the commercial side. What's the difference for you guys when you're looking at a commercial deal versus a res deal? Do you still need or use privates in the res side? Like, can you break down the difference for you guys how that works?
I would say we use it quite a bit less, but there are certain situations where that can come into play too. But it's really the big thing for us is like, where's the client going? Like that, like that's the biggest question is where are you going? Whether it's residential or commercial. I mean, the biggest thing on commercial, it's like, are you doing cash flow or appreciation? First off, what are you doing there? And so it's like really trying to, people are like, well, I don't know, I want both. It's like, okay, well, there's more to it. Same with residential. Okay, you're buying this for your family. Is this something you're going to be in for a few years? Are you in the military? You're going to move again? So there's longer term goals. But we've used you before too in a quick. There was a nasty separation that needed some quick funds, and there's no other bank that could have came in and done it as quick as was needed. And so there are situations where on the residential side, we find, at least I find, it is tend to come with like quick timelines and there's deadlines that just can't be met in any other institution, and it comes in really handy there as well.
Yep.
And then further to that, anything construction related. We're very, very private focused on those construction draw mortgages, residential or commercial, because of the ease of how it all kind of flows. And the client ends up actually potentially saving money because of the speed and the ability to not have to pay all those appraisal fees that you guys kind of take pictures of yourself and put your people there instead of having to order an appraisal and all that stuff. So I've seen us use the private side residentially construction-wise. But again, it's not for everybody. And we definitely tell our clients that because they'll come in and say, well, I just want a private mortgage. Wicked. Like, we could do that, but I don't think that's necessarily the option that you're going to want to roll with. You just heard private on the internet and decided that's what you want.
Yeah.
So.
Funny.
Do you guys find that there's is there a lot of people doing that now? I feel like it's actually starting to, like, that is growing where people just like, I know I want private, just let's do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially if they've had any kind of dealings with you folks in the past or any other private lenders in the past and they've had a good experience with it, then they'll come in and just say, let's just go private, let's get it done, and we'll refi over.
Especially on the construction side. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, 100%.
So much less stress and less hoops. And it's just when you look at timelines and look at all the check boxes that you gotta hit, and it just the stress goes out the window. Like a large portion of a client's stress goes out the window.
There's some great operators who can develop, build, renovate like unbelievably well, and they're just not obsessed with the idea of having like a cost consultant over their shoulder the whole time. Like, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
I know how to get these done. Me providing you 1 million documents every single day to keep this project flowing makes no sense to me.
And guess who doesn't like documents?
None of us.
Yeah, especially people who are good with their hands and you know, they're busy all day.
Slowing them down.
Yeah, and they get home and it's like, okay, I got kids and it's the evening now. I got to go get my tax documents. Where do I even find that? And so, you're right. It's kind of literally. I had a client last week. He's like, I love buying real estate. The thing I hate most is getting you documents. And I'm like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, 100%. Let's dive into the economy, guys. So I don't know if you want to kind of give a worldview here, or let's keep it maybe a bit more local to Atlantic Canada, Nova Scotia. I know you guys both have Cape Breton connections, so I'd love to hear a little bit on that market because that's really taken off. You know, speaking of CBU, there's been a lot of noise there for a couple of years, and obviously limited rental availability there. But do you guys want to kind of give your 2 cents, maybe short and long term, on the Atlantic and Nova Scotian economy?
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak to it specifically from the Cape Breton side of things, just because Hutchie's not really a purebred like that. So, you know,
I'd say it hurts, but you know,
Yeah.
Cape
the
Breton.
truth hurts too, brother.
Yeah.
I was actually reading a little bit about this over the last couple of days, prepping for this question, and it was interesting. Something I read, it was like Cape Breton's in both a housing boom and a crisis, which is very interesting if you think about it. You know, I'm lifelong Cape Breton. I left 10 years ago, but before that, I've been there, you know, forever. And you see the industry come and go. So, you know, the coal mining and all that other stuff that was there and is now gone. They've really had to pivot industry to survive. Because at one point in time, downtown Sydney looked like a ghost town. It was basically boarded up again.
Yeah.
They put a couple of cruise ships in, and the tourism, I guess, is kind of where everything is pushing towards now, which is great, but again, is very cyclical. So winter months in Cape Breton get a little interesting, and is really only driven by, you know, the tourism side of things, some education, like CBU is going to hire who they're going to hire and keep their staff, but they're bringing in students. But even that, their international students have been cut basically back to next to nothing, which when I was doing my MBA was very much opposite.
Sure.
It was a very busy university when I was there. But yeah, like we don't see a ton of transactions coming out of Cape Breton, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's still so very old school that, you know, if you're not whites of your eyes and introducing yourself, even if you're from there, they're just going to walk down the street and go to RBC or go to credit union and get their bank book stamped because that's what they're used to doing.
Yep.
Even like I said, being there, you could rhyme
Getting
off.
your bank book stamped. I haven't heard that one in a while. Neil, you've probably never heard of that
I actually
before,
have no
right?
idea what he just said.
Oh, so
Dude, I forgot about that.
Explain that to you
Holy
later.
smokes.
But that's how old school it is there, right?
Yeah.
And so we've, like, Matt and I have gone down a bunch of times and you know, taken people out and really tried to, you know, put a presence there.
Cool.
And it works and it doesn't. Like, we
Yeah.
transact a little bit, but not as much as we'd like to. But I think there's opportunity. There's a lot of rental opportunities happening down there now.
Yeah.
Like, I talk to family quite a bit, and, you know, they're always saying, well, there's this building popping up and this building popping up. So, you know, a smaller scale to what Halifax would look like. But
No, on the Cape Breton note as well, there's not a ton of mortgage brokers that are licensed in that area, which is kind of surprising. Am I leading into something here? Oh, let's go. Okay.
Well, before we get there,
Okay, just before we break some news here, Hutch, like, give it a little bit of your 2 cents on maybe the Halifax, Nova Scotia economy.
Atlantic in general.
Yeah, Atlantic in general.
with the forward coming years, what do you think's going to happen?
I think it's out of all the places to be in Canada, there's maybe one or two others in terms of commercial that are pretty good hotspots. But so I think that the Atlantic provinces are actually, and I'll be specific to Halifax and maybe even New Brunswick a bit. But
Yep.
I do think that in terms of, you know, we're never going to be of Toronto or Vancouver. So I find it, you know, when people compare ourselves to those major cities, we can do that because we're in the same country. But when we're talking price points and we're talking number of sales, it is a very different market that you're looking at. So when we're looking at sub-markets, so any other city really outside that, I think the Atlantic provinces has caught up to, especially I'm specific to real estate in the moment now, but like it has caught up to the rest of the country.
Sure.
When we talk about your price per home, your average mortgage volume, we're no longer, just the little brother, the little cousin to every other major city or province. We are really kind of, batting at the same level of anyone outside of Toronto and Vancouver. Maybe, Ottawa, Montreal, maybe a little bit higher. But outside that, it's a great market to be in. And Halifax specifically is a place that, like, we're surrounded by water. We're not Calgary or Edmonton where you can go any direction you want and just keep building.
Yep.
So it's a really interesting market in that regard too. So there's, where it's going to go, I can see. I don't know if you want me to answer your question now or keep going.
No, keep going.
Okay. But I find that's really interesting. Obviously, everyone wishes they had a crystal ball, but with that thought, and we see a lot of construction in the city right now, and you're always like, oh, who's going to fill those? Who's going to fill those? I was like, well, with the technology advancements in the last couple of years and the immigration, which obviously they just cut back on, but it's big. But all that immigration that happened that has spread out all across the country. I mean, you go down to Chester, you go to any rural city, and you see a lot of these people have to do 2 or 3 years there. Yeah. Where are they going to go after that? They're going to go to the cities, right? Yep. So I think those will be filled, especially in a place like Halifax where there is sprawl a little bit, but more so for people who have families and want that area. If you want to stay in Halifax, there's nowhere else that Halifax can go other than up.
Yep.
Interesting point.
In terms of height of buildings.
Yes.
You made an interesting point that I don't think I've really considered as part of immigration is they make you live in secondary markets. And there's a ton of people in all the secondary markets right now that, as you said, are not going to stay there ultimately. They're going to migrate to a bigger city. Some will leave, but there'll also be a big percentage that'll come to Halifax. Yeah. And so I think we're even seeing that now. I can tell with my rentals, like a lot of our applications are people moving into the city, and I can see that actually picking up over the next couple of years because a big part of the growth took place about 3 years ago. So you'd be having that flow in now. So that's a really interesting point. How do you think we keep people here so we don't lose this net migration to other parts of the country? Like you went and worked in another part of the country. I don't know what motivated that, if it was simply like that's where the placement was available.
It was necessary at the time.
Yeah, that was essentially that was where there was the body that needed to be filled. So that's where I ended up being. I would have loved to have stuck around, but I think leaving probably made me leave policing. So it all kind of works itself out too.
True enough.
Nice.
Opportunity, I think, is the answer. The biggest answer there is like, what opportunities are here for me to stay?
Yeah.
And so that's up to that's ultimately up to the government and being able to incentivize businesses to grow here, which ultimately provide jobs, which ultimately provide opportunities for people to stay and grow a family. And same with if you want that to happen, then there has to be infrastructure. There has to be resources for me as an investor to build retail, to build whatever it is for businesses to thrive, because that's what it comes down to. If I'm in my getting to my late 30s, but have 2 kids, and if I run my own business, but if I'm not someone who wants to be a business owner and don't like that risk, I need a job. And to live in today's economy, I need a good job. So how many good jobs are around here? And if I'm assessing that, then I'm going to assess here. I'll assess Toronto. I'll assess, wherever I think is going to be a good place for my family to live. So wherever the opportunity is, I think ultimately from a very high economic level will drive that economy. So what's government doing in order to facilitate?
Are you a private mortgage lender in Ontario looking for trusted legal support? Meet Crikey Carter Professional Corporation, a boutique real estate law firm in Midtown Toronto with deep expertise in private lending and mortgage enforcement. Crikey Carter closes hundreds of private mortgage deals every year, and when recovery becomes necessary, they handle both contested and uncontested enforcement with precision, from forbearance agreements to power of sale and cost recovery strategies. For lenders who demand clarity, efficiency, and results, Crikey Carter has you covered. Visit gclaw.ca to learn more and safeguard your private lending investments.
Take that opportunity.
Should be positive though. So I guess the thing right now the government would be doing is increasing defense spending. And we've talked about that. We're a defense town. Like we're built on the military and the Navy here. So we should have a lot of opportunity continuing to grow. It seems like it is going that way, and it should be growing up from there.
That'll be
that
good.
too.
Software too. Software tech is
Yeah.
huge.
Do you want to quickly comment on the multi side and give your 2 cents?
It's all
these
over.
guys.
I've heard you say that
Yeah.
before.
No, I think it's temporarily. Like I mean, it's an economic cycle. I know there's gonna be an influx of people here, but it's still not gonna match the number of units we have coming on market, and you're seeing that already because there's no question rents are down 20-25%, vacancies up probably about 5%.
They're not down 20-25%.
100%. Oh yeah, they are 100%.
Like on average.
Anyone like renting now, if you have a unit you have to rent right now,
Like from
you'd
the
be down
peak.
20% from where it was in the peak. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Because if you think about it, if they're giving
Need a
away,
little fact check on that one.
well, if you think about it, they're giving away 2 to 3 months rent. A month rent is 8%.
Fair
3
enough.
months is 24%.
The competition's up.
Competition's through the roof. Vacancy's way up.
It's a good
And I can see it just in my unit turnovers. Like I see where they're re-renting. So I would say at least 20% is what they're at. Again, statistics will say no because they're looking at posted ads. And so guys are still renting for $3,000 a month, but they're giving you a $10,000 incentive to move in.
Yeah.
So if you amortize that over the whole thing, like, oh, I'm actually only paying $2,000, so I'm down 35%. Anyways, all to say, I think it'll be a cycle. Long term, I think Atlantic has a shit ton of room to grow, and I think it's a great place to invest. And I think we're going into another opportunity window for buyers to buy. 'Cause I think the last 2 years have been so inflated; it's been impossible to get in with numbers that made sense.
Yeah,
But-
I agree with you there. Like we're just starting to see decent debt servicing now. You know, with the price of debt
Yeah.
starting to level out a little bit more. And
Yeah.
now, obviously, you can get into a whole other episode about what the bonds are doing in the States and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see debts settling. Now, rents coming down are going to affect that. But you know, as it was, rents were a little higher, so debts were coming down. DSC made sense. So we're like to your point, we're going to see that cycle where if debt comes down again, hopefully prices will continue to come down a little bit. And
Yeah.
it'll make sense to get qualified for these buildings because it's all about that, right?
100%. So
We're seeing vacancies even with like some of the banks like up 1% from January that we
Yeah.
have to use in our normalization numbers.
exactly. So I think by the end of the year, that'll be up another point or two.
Yeah, it's not so bad in like Halifax proper, but when you get outside that, but still even Halifax like Peninsula, it's gone up 1% that we need to use.
It was the thing that we saw in the warehouse market because they built so quickly that it wasn't that they were losing tenants. They were just adding so much square footage that vacancy kept climbing and climbing and climbing.
Yeah.
Same with the office. Office in Halifax, vacancy has reduced, but it's because we converted 2 or 3 buildings into res. It's not because anyone signed a new lease.
Yeah.
New businesses.
It's because they're tearing it down. So I think it's the same thing. Like the vacancy in Halifax is climbing just because they're bringing on 300 units every week.
It'll be interesting to see from our economy too, because I think, and maybe I'm an optimistic person, so my views. We're a good team here because my views are always it's good cop, bad cop, but I always tend to lean on the
Actual cop.
optimistic, optimistic side. I think actually Halifax, Nova Scotia in general, is taking a lot of great steps towards building a larger and stronger economy. Like you mentioned, the defense budget going up, that's going to create more jobs. They're doing a lot of offshore energy right now, projects that are in the works.
The wind,
The wind, and there's
areas,
also
that's
offshore
cool.
natural gas too. That the bids have opened up for. So those aren't going to be immediate fixes, but those are in the coming years going to fill a lot of those units that are
long term
coming up.
I'm excited for 5 years out.
It's going to be
I think then the train will have started going back up again, and it'll be really
especially
exciting.
if we can knock out some of those energy plans, which
Oh yeah,
I've seen numbers
change the game.
in that it's like shipbuilding made a big difference to Halifax. This will be another case exactly like that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good discussion, guys. Okay, so let's hear. I feel like there's some news coming here, but let's
Breaking
talk
news.
about the future of the indie team in Atlantic Canada. What do you got for us?
The future is looking great. So it's always been a goal of ours to multiply. And so basically we've now come to the point where we've been able to set a bunch of the groundwork and that is going to allow us to actually build a team. And we're going to have our own, now I guess we've been talking a bit of a team, but Ryan, you know us a bit better. It's really a team with a couple supports, but an actual mortgage brokerage and Indy East team, which will have a residential and commercial arm, but we'll be growing in terms of agents and presence.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was
don't know how much you want to add to that.
definitely something that we didn't think we were going to do.
Yeah.
And then it just started to kind of fall into place. And with Indy's kind of mantra is they're a team of teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt and I and Hutch, and we've got Rebecca in there, and we've got Blake in there now as a commercial underwriter. So we've got some core people in the right spots doing the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time to just, create that culture and blow the roof off of it.
Cool.
So, we started interviews for some spots in Cape Breton. So
Nice.
when you said Cape Breton, we kind of smirked. That's
Amazing.
why I've had some interviews with the banker down there that we're going to hopefully bring over.
Yeah.
And just create that culture that we've started to create, and then just push it on to but we're going to be super selective too, right? Like it's not going to be we don't want somebody coming in and just coasting, because Indy doesn't look for that either. Like at head office as a whole, there's a certain expectation to get in and do your job correctly.
Right.
And we just want to surround ourselves with good people doing the right things and getting stoked to continue to push the market share of the brand and the industry as a whole.
What's the goal?
The goal.
40 mortgage agents by the end of the year?
No. So back to Matt's point there, where it is very much. There is it sounds maybe corny, but there is an energy and a vibe and a culture that we have in the office, and that is paramount to anything. And we have been interviewing quite a few people and some more coming up. But for us, it's very much if 40 people came in tomorrow that bet that fit that culture, then sure, we'd take them. If it's one, then that's what we take. So it is something that will be growing. To very much protect that culture, but I'll say we'll be double or triple in the next 6 to 12 months.
Nice. If they're not in the cars, they're out.
Yeah,
right.
You got to be in the cars.
And we're also looking.
Otherwise, you want. Our weekly meetings might not be as exciting if you don't like cars.
Yeah. We're also, it's not just residential. We are going to potentially look to bring on some. Like, we're very protective of the commercial side of our business right now, just because it's very new and very exciting. But we are going to be putting feelers out for brokers in the industry that are potentially looking to make that level up and come to the commercial side and we've developed training and systems and things like that to put in place, and we've got Blake there as the underwriter now, so it would really be more of a almost like a sales role, which is kind of what we do anyway. But we for a long time didn't want to really muddy that water, but now that we've got the pillars are there, we're kind of excited to potentially put that out there as well and see if we can bring on anybody.
So shout out to any listeners that are thinking about it.
Yeah, that was kind of a little bit of a quiet plug there.
Neil, last one before we hammer the bonus question.
Okay, we asked this to everyone, and I'm going to put in a little asterisk. You can't say the people.
The people. Everybody says the people.
Everyone says the people. So obviously the people in the mortgage industry are bomb, but we're going to ask you, what do you love most about the mortgage industry outside of the people?
Perfect.
I hate the people.
Listen, coming from the industry I used to come from, I'm the same way. I don't necessarily love people.
Perfect.
I say it around the office all the time. I love what I do for the strategy side of it. Like, the commercial side of this business is what gets me out of bed every day. I get fired up to read financial statements, as nerdy as that sounds. I love being able to take a financial set of statements, rip it apart, find everything good, find some holes to plug, and get that back to the lender and get that approved. So, yes, the people are awesome, sure. But the strategy behind doing this and doing something a little different.
Yeah.
Like, the commercial side of things is not being done by everybody, and that excites me. That keeps me going, and that's really what I wanted to bring to this industry from the get-go. I remember when I started, I had no idea what 39 and 44 were. I remember calling the underwriter being like, cool, man, we're at like 44 and a half, but they have A1 credit, like just starting to rhyme off all of these list of things, because that's how I would underwrite commercially. And they were like, you must have been a banker, eh? Yes, sir, I was. You're like, yeah, you can't argue those numbers. I'm like, sweet, we'll call you soon, man. I got to go find some more money. But yeah, for me, it's just like the strategy and bringing that to the market and pushing our market share in the broker side is low as it is, but like commercially is really, really low.
Absolutely.
So that to me is just what fires me up to keep doing what I'm doing.
Cool. Sick.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I think opportunity and seeing light bulb moments, which on the commercial side is even easier than I shouldn't say easier, happens more frequently than on the residential side. But like, it's so funny having a 5-minute conversation with someone, and you're someone who's non-biased and has options, and someone's like, "Oh, you can do that. Oh, you can do that. Oh, you can do that." It's like, yeah. And it's like,
Opening
okay.
eyes.
And it's opening eyes to everything you can do with debt, and it's especially on the commercial side. Of course we do, we do debt that's attached to an asset, but like we also do like pretty much any other facility. You want to line of credit for your business, whatever. What do you
want
need?
To buy another business?
You want an
facilitate those
acquisition
transactions,
loan,
yeah.
like so we can underwrite to anything, and so it's. I think really it's the opportunity that shows people that there's so much more out there than what your bank offers, and
Right.
and listen, we have amazing connections with some bankers, and we use them all the time, but at the same time that person is on a ladder trying to get to the top, and being a commercial relationship manager or being a residential mortgage specialist is one rung in that ladder, and we're here, and this is what we do. We're not a jack of all trades, we're a master of one, and when you're doing that for year in and year out, it's interesting to be able to provide that added value and strategy to clients, and I guess the biggest thing that I love is just seeing that light bulb go off, and it's validation of what you do, and it's nice to see people understand their options.
Yeah, it's almost like capital advisory as opposed to just document dumping, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we want to become.
The opportunity to be creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
So-
sense.
Anything else before we go to the bonus?
No.
Okay, bonus round, guys. Start with Matt here. Okay. I assume you're a big music guy. I'm an observant guy, so I noticed you were ripping the Gucci Man last time I was at the
I
office.
was. That's
I've also seen you're a past skater boy too, weren't you? Back in the day.
I was a sponsored skateboarder at one point in time.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool. Maybe we
very
want to
cool.
touch on that a little bit more. But I assume you had a little bit of a punker era, maybe back in the day. Am I stretching on that?
No, sir,
Okay.
you're pretty much bang on.
So
there.
I'm gonna keep it simple. Favorite Blink-182 song.
Damn it.
Nice.
That was quick.
That rolled off the tongue very quickly.
I used to play it in a band.
Can you explain to Neil who Blink-182 is? Because let's be honest.
It's three senior citizens that sound like a new version of Green Day, if you've ever heard
And
Green
have more
Day.
tattoos than Matt.
I regret not going to see them when they toured last year, but like the ticket prices were insane. Like it just, I didn't really realize. Play it right now. I didn't realize that I knew they were incredibly popular. I just didn't realize they were that popular. Or maybe they just struck a chord with like the generation that's now in our late 30s and early 40s. But
It's like those memes that you see, and it's like, your 40-year-old self that you used to dance to at the club, and now you're cooking supper for your kid, and they're in the kitchen like, yes, sir.
totally.
So like that's it. I was listening to the radio the other day, and Blink-182, like what's my name again, or what's my age again,
What's my
whatever,
age again,
whatever
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
came on, and they were like, yeah, that's classic rock.
Yeah. Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
whoa! I almost got out of the car. I almost pulled the car over, got out, and walked.
Yeah, crazy.
I was very disappointed.
My favorite is "Feeling This," just for the record. A bit of a maybe more underrated song, but
it's a
my
good one,
kids are actually huge into it now too. They love it, so
love that.
that's the reason that one came to mind. Hutch, over to you. So I want to talk
Classic
sports
rock,
with
that's
you.
Insane.
I know.
Devastated.
Okay, so you mentioned Bryson DeChambeau's name off the hop here, and I feel like golf has increased like crazy in popularity, especially people who follow the PGA Tour. But do you have a favorite golfer on the tour?
Jordan Spieth would be my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm still mad at Jordan Spieth because back in I don't know when it was, 2015 or something, he was an early guy, and I was in Vegas and I bet on him to win the Masters, and he was leading going into Sunday, and then Bubba Watson had a massive comeback on Sunday.
He was leading until the back nine.
You're right until the back nine, and then he fell
yeah.
apart down the
Fell
stretch.
apart.
But did he ever end up winning a Masters?
Oh yeah,
Spieth? Yeah, okay,
yep.
yeah,
and he
that's
came
right.
runner-up.
Yeah.
So there was a 3 or 4 year period where he was in. Actually, I think the year he lost to Bubba, he slipped like third.
Yeah.
But there was a 2 or 3 year period where it was just like three or 4 year period actually where he was like leading.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did win one.
Yeah, Spieth must be like mid-30s by now, eh? Like,
No, he's probably 25.
no,
Spieth,
no
yeah.
way.
So the year that you're talking about, we lost to Bubba. He was.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I was going to say something.
You're off on this.
He was in high school the year before.
What?
Literally, so he won the Corn Ferry, or was it the Corn Ferry Tour? He holed out from the bunker to get accepted.
He's 32, by the way, for the record.
No,
He's 32, born in 1993.
Looking it up.
his math's
Google confirmed.
wrong. No, I'm not looking
But
at the phone.
that is younger than I thought. But he must have been super young then. He must have been like early 20s.
Yeah,
during
he would
that
have been.
Masters.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was.
It was probably
10
10 years ago.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Right on. And also, so you played soccer in university for CBU.
Correct.
Do you have a premiership team that you follow?
Yeah, PSG.
PSG.
But I guess
Okay.
that's not Premier. But I don't, in terms of Premier League, I don't really. I used to be a big Frank Lampard fan, so Chelsea. But
Nice.
I don't. With work and young kids, I don't watch as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
But sure, I'll piggyback on my old
Nice.
club.
I used to like Chelsea a little bit when I was a kid too. Frank Lampard was he was a captain of the team,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Yeah. I have not watched a lot of soccer in my life, although my younger brother works for the Vancouver Whitecaps in the MLS,
really?
so I've been
that's
getting
cool.
more into it. And I've also been extremely pissed off being a Maple Leafs fan for basically my entire life. So I've decided this summer to become a Sunderland fan.
Oh yeah.
So like really like blue collar town, like
Yep.
near like Newcastle in the UK. So I know nothing about them before, but there's a Netflix special on them. So
Yeah.
they're now my team, just for the record. So
Love it.
and they just got promoted back to the Premiership. So
Yes.
so it
Yeah,
should
it's
be
a great
fun
story.
to follow. Anything else to add, guys, before we wrap here?
Just a huge thanks again for having us on here and letting us, ramble on about Indy and what we're up to and what we're going to be doing and for being amazing supporters and partners in all of this. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for all you guys do.
Thanks so much for joining us, guys. That was a great conversation, and appreciate everybody listening.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys. It's Neil, your co-host and co-founder at Keystone Mortgage Investment Corp. and Director of Investor Relations. I'm also a real estate agent, real estate investor, and business owner.
And your co-host and co-founder of Keystone Mortgage Investment Corporation, Ryan McNeil. Keystone MIC is licensed under the Mortgage Regulations Act of Nova Scotia, license number 3000844, and through FCMB, license 89280. Keep in mind, the views of this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not financial advice.